And we have another extreme heat warning for today, plus a severe storm risk. I'll show you what to expect as we get through the day.
And breaking news after you went to sleep, a man shot in Wake County. Well, we're talking about where this happened and the search for the gunman. And AI in your child's classroom. What could happen today in Wake County and what it could mean for your child's education this fall? A lot of stories to get to on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Chris Levingood. Folks, we are tracking more sweltering heat and a chance for severe storms. This is why we have team coverage today on the effects of the heat that you can expect throughout the day. But let's start with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner for your forecast there, Elizabeth.
We're going to start off taking a look outside. Of course, this is the Capitol building. Notice the flag is still. We don't have any air that's stirring up out there to make it feel any more comfortable. It's going to be a dangerously hot day again today. It's already hazy. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. 78 is our dew point. This is the measure of moisture in the atmosphere, and the highest we've ever seen on record is 81, and we're getting very close to that. We just jumped to 85 degrees, so we take a look at our temperature and the heat index. So this is not dangerous just yet, but once we get it into the triple digits, it definitely is, and we're close to it now. In the Triangle, it feels like 97 in Durham and Raleigh. It feels like 97 in Rocky Mount and 99 in South Hill. Feels like 95 in Fayetteville and 93 in Southern Pine. So really starting to change things up now as we're moving ahead into the 8 o'clock hour, and by 9 o'clock, we may start to see some of those temperatures into the triple digits. If we do, we could see that all the way up through 8 p.m. So we could be talking 12 hours today with triple digit heat indices. And then we had a chance for thunderstorms this afternoon, right around the time of the evening commute. That rain is not going to cool us down because it'll already be so hot before those storms develop. Some of those could produce some severe storms. We'll take a look coming up. Ken?
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we have a couple of issues really happening in the Durham area. Let's start with this crash is just reported on I-885 and TW Alexander Drive in the southbound lane. You can see the huge delays it's causing in those southbound lanes. Here's what you're looking at. If you're trying to get from I-85 to I-40 this morning, you're looking at a 22-minute delay. So I would recommend just using Highway 70 as an alternate route to avoid what's happening there in I-885. Similarly, this crash on I-40 eastbound near Highway 55, where it's causing a huge backup going all the way back to Fayetteville Road, always past Fayetteville Road. That's the Streets at South Point exit. Here's what it looks like, courtesy of a live cam network. Here's the crash right there. You can see at least one lane is closed. The first responders are right there on the scene. Traffic is getting through just a little bit in those two outer lanes. But again, Highway 70, depending on where you are in Durham, you might want to get that, avoid what's happening on I-40 eastbound. We're seeing the huge delays in the southern loop of the Beltline as well as the northern loop of the Beltline this morning. You're looking at maybe a 5 to 6 minute delay on that southern loop.
While some people may have the luxury of avoiding the heat outside this week, construction crews have to be out there in this weather, and that can be dangerous for them. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us now on I-40 near Rock Quarry Road. And Laura, these workers, they have taken steps to ensure they are as safe as possible in this heat.
Right now, we're standing on Rock Quarry Road overlooking I-40 here, and we're talking about the people who work hours on end improving these road conditions to make your commute smoother and more convenient. And this week, they're facing dangerous conditions to do so. The Department of Labor says every year, thousands of workers across the country suffer from serious heat-related illnesses. If not quickly addressed, heat exhaustion can become heat stroke, which has killed on average more than 30 workers annually since 2003. The NCDOT tells us they are taking several measures to ensure worker safety.
Move the hardest work and from the hottest part of the day to the earliest part of the day, or the coolest part of the day, whenever that is, and when we can do that. We make sure that our employees wear long sleeves that are loose-fitting cotton. We provide bandanas that are chilled and to help mitigate the heat. We make sure they're taking frequent breaks.
She also says workers are equipped with steel-toed boots so that they can stand on asphalt safely throughout the day. They're also trained on monitoring each other on the signs of heat stress and heat illness. And they're also emphasizing to the public right now, as they do each and every day, to be mindful of the work zones, but especially on a day like today. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
We're also following this breaking story. One person was hurt in a shooting overnight. This happened on Hodge Road near Wendell. And WRAL's Ali Kavlabar has been following this story in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker as investigators gather evidence.
Deputies were there investigating for about 4 hours. That's where they found a man shot and a home damaged. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker around 2 this morning. Multiple sheriff's deputies were on the scene, blocking off Hodge Road and a house. They laid out several evidence markers on the road. Wake County Sheriff's Office says they found a man with gunshot wounds. He was taken to the hospital seriously hurt. They also found a home damaged from gunshots. Neighbors called police about seeing cars drive by and shots fired. Listen to this broadcastified clip.
One of the callers that there may be a silver Honda Civic and a black Mustang that's involved believes that the shots may have come from Afrida Court.
We're still working to learn if a shooter has been arrested, as well as the condition of the victim. Reporting in Wendell, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
In the Middle East, a ceasefire appears to have held overnight after a contentious day yesterday between the two sides, between Israel and Iran. Jeff Hogan has been following this story in the WRAL Live Center with overnight updates on this.
Yeah, there have been a lot, but the main thing is that truce does appear to be holding right now. Some of the headlines including a point of contention between the U.S. strikes and how much damage was done there from those military strikes onto those nuclear sites here. Some saying it was set back by just a few months. Donald Trump saying it was total obliteration. But really, in just the less than half hour, if you want to take a look at this headline from Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who is also in that same NATO meeting with President Donald Trump. He is saying, quote, much further away Iran is from a nuclear weapon after the strike. So a bit more measured in his words, saying there's less capacity to produce a nuclear weapon. He's frustrated by the reports because intelligence often gets mischaracterized. He said there was substantial damage to a variety of different components. But again, going back to saying that the nuclear program has been set behind significantly from where it was a week ago, in far worse shape than it was a week ago, but not giving any time frame for how long it's been knocked out or saying that it's been knocked out completely.
It's likely we'll get more competing narratives on that. Thank you, Jeff. Wake County authorities are investigating the deaths of 3 people killed in a house fire. I mean, see right here, Sky 5 above that fire yesterday on Rand Road in Gardner. 3 fire departments, the SBI, and the Wake County Bureau of Forensic Services were all there. Law enforcement confirmed the 3 people killed were 49-year-old Shannon Collins and 2 teenagers. 2 cats were also found dead inside. Neighbors tell WRAL 4 people in total live at the home, and the news of that fire, it just comes to them as a shock.
Lost their life at one time and 10 a.m. in the morning. You know, that's something not right. Something is not right with this situation.
Now, we reached out to a person who is listed as living at that home, but they declined to comment and said they were wanting to grieve privately. The medical examiner's office is working to determine the cause and the manner of death for the people killed. Today, the Wake School Board will debate how generative AI can be used inside the classroom. Our team confirmed Wake schools have informally embraced AI and are teaching students how to use it. A policy would establish a consistent set of guidelines for all schools, and these guidelines would be publicly available for students and their parents to see. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst says it would also set rules designed to ensure students use it responsibly.
The policy would also have some kind of safeguards in place for things like preventing cheating. It says something about how students should cite their use of AI in any of the work that they do. There's not a clear idea of how that would be enforced, how that would be checked.
The draft policy largely stems from a version the North Carolina School Boards Association created. That was sent to school districts for consideration in March last year. You can follow our coverage today and find out more about what's in that policy and the education section of WRAL.com. A former Cumberland County principal and local superintendent has died. Tim Markley died suddenly this weekend while participating in the Tour de Blueberry charity bike ride. Markley reportedly had a medical issue during the ride on June 21st, but first responders, they couldn't revive him. Markley was principal at Douglas Byrd High School in Cumberland County for years, and he went on to lead several school systems, including New Hanover and Catawba counties, as superintendent. His funeral will be on Curie Beach. Covering Orange County, businesses and government agencies will be at the Summer 2025 Job Fair and Recruitment event. That's in Hillsboro, if you're familiar. More than 50 employers are expected to be there, including Duke Health, NCDOT, the U.S. Army, Marine Corps, even Sheetz. The event is being held at Hillsboro Commons on Mayo Street, and that'll be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Democratic lawmakers at the state and the federal level will address the proposed GOP budget moving through Congress. This will be a virtual discussion. Congressman Don Davis and State Senator Natalie Murdoch will be part of that discussion. It's at 10 a.m. And they plan to talk about possible effects across our state as a result of proposed cuts to Medicaid. This week, the U.S. Senate is expected to take up the president's spending plan known as the Big Beautiful Bill. All right, tonight is the draft night in the NBA. It's shaping up to be a life-changing night for former Duke star Cooper Flagg. The 18-year-old is expected to be taken with the first overall pick, and that belongs to the Mavericks. Flagg was part of a Final Four run in his only season at Duke, and his former Blue Devils teammate, Con Knipple, is also expected to be picked in the top 5. Your time is 8:10. A crumbled comeback. How Andrew Cuomo managed to lose his bid for New York City mayor, and the 33-year-old lawmaker set to shake things up there. Plus, measles in North Carolina. The first case has been reported this year in our state. What we know about where people may have been exposed.
And heat is a big danger for us today. We're going to see a heat index into the triple digits by the middle of the morning, lasting well into the evening. We also have the chance for some strong to severe storms. We'll go over that coming up. 8:14, take a live look at RDU. Some cloud cover out there, but a lot of sunshine, a lot of a hazy sunshine. And boy, we are warming up fast. It's 85 degrees right now in the Triangle, and the dew point at 78. That's significant. That's the amount of moisture that there is in the atmosphere, and it's starting to really creep up to some of the highest that we ever see. 81 is our highest dew point ever. We're not too far from that. Extreme heat warning because of the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. The heat today will make it feel more like triple digits, and we could be seeing triple digits or feeling triple digits as early as the middle of the morning. And if so, that could last all the way until 8 p.m. So we'd be talking about, 10, 12 hours of seeing triple digit heat indices. So you definitely don't want to be spending any more time outside today than you have to. One additional thing today that we didn't see yesterday is a chance of thunderstorms. They'll be fairly isolated, but some of those could produce wind damage later today. I'll walk you through the timeline on Futurecast coming up. Ken?
Elizabeth, we've got a couple of things happening in Durham. We've got a crash in a couple of areas. One on I-40, I-885 in the southbound lanes. You can see the huge delays it's causing there in those southbound lanes. We're talking a situation where an 18-minute delay in those southbound lanes. I would recommend Highway 70 as an alternate route. The other crash that we're looking at is this serious crash on I-40 eastbound near Highway 55. I have an update about this coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Ken. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo conceded the Democratic primary for mayor of New York City. 33-year-old lawmaker Zoran Mamdani appears to be poised to be the nominee. Now, the primary race will still need to be formally decided by ranked choice vote, and Mamdani took a commanding lead in the vote after polls closed last night. Now, if nominated, the Democratic Socialist will face incumbent Mayor Eric Adams in the general election. Adams is running as an independent in that. New this morning, a SpaceX rocket carrying 4 astronauts is on its way to the International Space Station.
2, 1, ignition, and lift.
The Axiom Mission 4 took off around 2:30 this morning from Florida. The private mission includes former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson. She is joined by astronauts from India, Poland, and Hungary. They'll be the first people from their nations to visit the space station. The group is expected to be in space for about 2 weeks. And we're working to learn more about the first measles case this year in North Carolina. According to the State Department of Health and Human Services, the infected person was a child visiting Forsyth and Guilford counties from overseas. The agency says the child visited several places between June 19th and the 21st. That included the Greensboro Airport, the Science Center, even a McDonald's. Doctors are urging people in the area to monitor symptoms, and they can show up anywhere from 7 to 21 days after exposure. The greatest concern is for people who either cannot or have not been vaccinated.
Vaccination is the most effective way to avoid contracting measles, so that's the takeaway here.
Measles symptoms include a cough, runny nose, high fever, even a full body rash. And we have a list of places people may have been exposed to measles on our website, WRAL.com. All right, so we've been talking about it, right? It's a WRAL weather alert day, but today it's because of both intense heat and the potential for storms. So how often does that happen on the same day? Well, meteorologist Chris Michael, he's been digging into this, looking in the last decade to show us in today's Ask a Meteorologist.
Yeah, so it was kind of that combination that got us thinking, all right, 100-degree days, storminess, do the two go hand in hand? Because today we've got that level 2 risk for severe storms, meaning that within that risk, severe weather would be scattered, not everybody would see it. So over the past decade, we've hit 100 degrees in the triangle 20 times. 10 of those times were actually last year. 8 of those 20 days were stormy. 5 of those 8 days produced severe weather, and it produced about 70 reports of severe weather, 96 of which were in the form of damaging wind gusts. Hail is very hard to get down to the surface when it's this hot because it just melts on its way down. But wind damage can happen because of this. When the heat is so intense, that air rises very quickly and a storm forms within minutes. All that moisture loading into the storm, and it's got nowhere to go but down, and it rushes down to the surface, crashes down, fans out. We call this a microburst. So not everybody's going to see that, but if a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, you'll get that notification within seconds by downloading the free WRAL weather app. Chris?
But to get those notifications, you have to turn them on. All right, thanks, Chris. State House lawmakers are set to debate bills that would ban schools from teaching what sponsors call divisive concepts. These include concepts about race, gender, even the founding of America. The bills would also ban professional training courses for teachers or other school employees that focus on topics related to DEI. A Senate committee will discuss a ban on state agencies engaging in pro-diversity efforts under the umbrella of DEI. 200,000 North Carolina voters will be asked to prove their identities. And this is part of actions North Carolina election officials are taking to resolve a lawsuit from the Trump administration. This process will begin this week. State leaders say that it should end the federal government's lawsuit. That claims these voters may not be who they say they are. So far, there is no proof of widespread voter fraud in North Carolina. Concerns have circulated since an unsuccessful Republican effort this year to overturn the state Supreme Court election results. You can read more on this on WRAL.com. A temporary access road between Chimney Rock and Bat Cave in western North Carolina. Look at it, it's finished. It took months of work of restoration after Helene damaged it. Once permanent repairs are made, well, the new road will help minimize local traffic. We do want to get back to the big story today, a WRAL weather alert day. Again, a double whammy today, Elizabeth. We got the heat, but also potential for storms.
We do. We're going to switch it over to Weather 3 and take a look here. We've got our extreme heat warning for today, a big old list for you. Level 2 risk for severe storms and a heat advisory for tomorrow with a level 1 risk. So that's a lot to take in, but just to let you know, the big story definitely going to be the heat and then the chance for some severe thunderstorms. We have another extreme heat warning for today. Tomorrow it's a heat advisory. Today it'll feel hotter than 110. Tomorrow it'll feel between 104 and 109. So we continue with the extreme heat, and our temperatures right now are warming up very fast. It's 85 in the Triangle, already feeling like 97. Look at that. In South Hill, it feels like 102 already. 95 Fayetteville and Clinton, 97 in Rocky Mount and Goldsboro. So we're looking at 8 o'clock right now. By the time we get to 9 to 10, somewhere in there, we're going to start to see more widespread triple-digit temperatures. This afternoon, it'll feel like 112 in the Triangle. Tomorrow, 108, and then 106 to 107 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's not a huge difference there. It's not really much of a cool down that we would notice. Instead, it continues our potential for heat-related injuries. So just be careful out there. Why is it hanging around so long? It's because we have a high-pressure system that is sitting stagnant over the eastern part of the country. It's creating a heat dome. High-pressure systems have sinking air. That sinking air compresses and warms. And as long as it's sitting here under our summer sun, we continue to have the hot temperatures just holding tough. Even with the chance of some thunderstorms later today, it's not likely to really make things feel much better. So by 10 a.m., 101, by 8 o'clock tonight, 100. So when you get home from work, 6, 7 o'clock, you're walking the dog, it's still going to feel like triple digits. Here comes the low pressure system that may bring us some scattered storms later on today. We'll start things off at 3 o'clock. You can see some cloud cover that starts to drop in on us. And then a few thunderstorm cells between 5 and 6 o'clock. It's likely to be just widely scattered. Not a lot of storms popping up. There'll be plenty of us that don't see any thunderstorms, but any of these storms that do pop up this evening have the chance to produce some wind damage. We have that level 2 risk today, and then Thursday and again Friday, it's a level 1 risk. We take a look at those temperatures that go along with it, and definitely going to remain hot for us. 100 today, and then mid to upper 90s well into next week. Ken?
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We want to get to these situations that we're seeing in Durham. Let's start with I-40 eastbound. That crash Center right near Highway 55. You see the huge delays it's causing there along Highway 55, almost back to Fayetteville Road. You can see it right here. One lane is closed. The first responders are trying to get that situation under control, but traffic is getting through on those two outer lanes. So it's a situation where, depending on where you are, Highway 70 might be your best bet. This is another crash on I-885 in the southbound lane. This is near TW Alexander Drive. It's causing some huge delays in those southbound lanes. You're looking at an 18-minute delay. So here again, Highway 70 might be your best bet in terms of avoiding what's going on there on I-885. We're seeing some huge delays on the southern loop of the Beltline, as well as the northern loop of the Beltline. This is what it looks like on a southern loop, the bumper-to-bumper traffic going through. So if you're taking that southern loop, you're looking at a 4-minute delay. If you're taking that northern loop, it's even more congested with a 14-minute delay on that area.
All right, thank you, Ken. Lightning on the lake. More than 20 people were hurt in a lightning strike in South Carolina. We're going to talk a little bit about how they're doing this morning. Plus, cool cars, scorching temps, and a sweltering car is probably not the way you want to start your day, which is why 5 on your side's Keely Arthur will explain ways you can cool down your car pretty quick.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Hey, good morning. Your time is 8:26. I am Chris Lovingood on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. We're joined here with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner to get you started.
Yeah, we're starting off with a look at RDU. Definitely hazy sunshine, a few clouds out there. Later this afternoon, we'll have the potential for thunderstorms, but it will already be hot, very hot by the time the storms start, so it's not going to really change the way things feel for us this afternoon. Right now, it's 85 with a dew point of 78, which is almost as high as it ever gets. Our highest dew point ever, 81, and that's a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. Another extreme heat warning for today. We could see as many as 12 hours with heat indices in the triple digits, as high as 112 around the middle of the afternoon. And again, we do have that chance for some severe storms, very high heat index with us all day long. And mid to late afternoon, some storms develop that could produce some wind damage. Ken?
Elizabeth, happening now at the WRAL Traffic Center. Got some heavy congestion because of a crash on I-40 eastbound right near Highway 55 there in Durham. It's a situation that has a delay stretching all the way back past Fayetteville Road this morning. Right now, nobody is moving, but they're trying to get that crash off to the side of the road. Right now, you can see the first responders still working that scene. I'll have an update at the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50.
We'll check back in with you then. Thank you, Ken. Deputies are looking for a suspect this morning after someone was hurt in a shooting near Wendell overnight. And that shooting happened near Hodge Road around midnight. The Wake County Sheriff's Office says a nearby home, it was hit by gunfire too. Today, the Wake County School Board will debate how generative AI can be used in the classroom. Wake schools have informally embraced AI and are teaching students how to use it. A policy would establish a consistent set of guidelines for all schools, publicly available for students and their parents to see. Next on Fox 50, staying safe while you're out in the heat. And coming up on Today, Martha Stewart shares her July 4th recipes.
Today is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Extreme heat and the chance for severe storms. I'll walk you through everything you need to know.
We're taking you to eastern Wake County, where deputies are investigating an early morning shooting. What our breaking news tracker found at the scene. Plus, hot job sites. The steps road teams are taking to stay safe in this intense heat. If there ever a day that you wanted your AC to work, folks, today is that day as you're waking up on a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Thanks so much for joining us here on WRAL News and Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood. We'll go ahead and step over into the WRAL Severe Weather Center with Elizabeth Gardner because, 1-2 punch. Perfect way to describe today.
Exactly. We have an extreme heat warning at the second in a row. We saw one yesterday. Our heat index will climb quickly into the triple digits and stay there for most of the day. And then late afternoon and evening, we'll have the chance for some storms. A few of those could produce wind damage, and we'll walk through that with Futurecast coming up. Live look at Chapel Hill right now. There are a few people out and about, but not a lot. It is already really hot out there. 85 with a dew point of 78. And of course, that makes it feel like the upper 90s already. Take a look at this. Our heat index in Durham and Raleigh is 97. It's 97 in Goldsboro and Rocky Mount, 95 in Fayetteville. It feels like 100 in Clinton, and it feels like 102 already up in South Hill. So it is only 8:30, and we have a long way to go. So much of the day, maybe as many as 12 hours in a row low. We'll have triple-digit heat indices, so you really want to take it easy outside this afternoon. Late this afternoon, a chance of a thunderstorm. One or two of those could produce some wind damage. We'll walk you through Futurecast coming up. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. A couple of issues we have going on in Durham this morning. Let's start with this crash on I-40 eastbound near Highway 55. It's a situation causing quite a bit of delay going all the way back past Fayetteville Road. You can see right now that the inner lane is closed. First responders are still there on the scene. Traffic is getting through in a couple of lanes, but you want to avoid I-40 eastbound this morning. Depending on where you are coming in, you might want to use local routes, mainly Highway 55 or even Highway 70. I-885 in the southbound lanes, huge delays because of a crash as well. It's a situation where you're looking at a 16-minute delay if you're in those southbound lanes. Here again, Highway 70 is your best alternate route. We're seeing delays on the southern loop of the Beltline as well as that northern loop of the Beltline. Here's what it looks like, courtesy of our live cam network at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. You're looking at a 5 to 7 minute delay on that southern loop.
So while many people across our area are trying to stay inside to avoid this week's triple-digit temperatures, construction teams, they're facing new challenges thanks to the elements. WRAL's Laura Levine is on I-40 near Rock Quarry Road to talk about how workers can stay safe in the heat.
Right now, we're standing on Rock Quarry Road overlooking I-40 here, and we're talking about the people who work hours on end improving these road conditions to make your commute smoother and more convenient. And this week, they're facing dangerous conditions to do so. The Department of Labor says every year, thousands of workers across the country suffer from serious heat-related illnesses. If not quickly addressed, heat exhaustion can become heat stroke, which has killed on average more than 30 workers annually since 2003. The NCDOT tells us they are taking several measures to ensure worker safety.
We move the hardest work and from the hottest part of the day to the earliest part of the day, or the coolest part of the day, whenever that is, and when we can do that. We make sure that our employees wear long sleeves that are loose-fitting cotton. We provide bandanas that are chilled and to help mitigate the heat. We make sure they're taking frequent breaks.
She also says workers are equipped with steel-toed boots so that they can stand on asphalt safely throughout the day. They're also trained on monitoring each other on the signs of heat stress and heat illness. And they're also emphasizing to the public right now, as they do each and every day, to be mindful of the work zones, but especially on a day like today. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Now, because of the heat wave, Wake County is extending the availability of cooling stations to help people stay cool. The county's temporary cooling stations will remain open through at least Monday, June 30th. Residents can find relief at Wake County Public Libraries, as well as regional centers and Health and Human Services centers. We have a list of dates and hours on our website, WRAL.com. Just search the words cooling stations. We've been following this story all morning long. One person was hurt in an overnight shooting, and that happened on Hodge Road near Wendell. WRAL's Ali Kadlabar has been following this story in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker.
Deputies were there investigating for about 4 hours. That's where they found a man shot and a home damaged. This is video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker around 2 this morning. Multiple sheriff's deputies were on the scene, blocking off Hodge Road and a house. They laid out several evidence markers on the road. Wake County Sheriff's Office says they found a man with gunshot wounds. He was taken to the hospital seriously hurt. They also found a home damaged from gunshots. Neighbors called police about seeing cars drive by and shots fired. Listen to this broadcastified clip.
One of the callers that there may be a silver Honda Civic and a black Mustang that's involved believes that the shots may have come from Afrida Court.
We're still working to learn if a shooter has been arrested, as well as the condition of the victim. Reporting in Wendell, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
We're also following this breaking update. Iran's parliament voted to suspend the country's cooperation with a UN nuclear watchdog. That's just one of the headlines in the ceasefire between Iran and Israel. Inspectors have remained in Iran throughout the 12-day conflict with Israel, and they were reportedly ready to verify inventories of nuclear material. But it's unclear if or even when their work will resume. We've been following that very closely in the WRAL Live Center with a look at some of the other top headlines.
Yeah, Chris, President Donald Trump said that those U.S. airstrikes effectively ended that 12-day war. And I know there's been back and forth about how much damage was done there, but he did say that when the inspectors go in, the Israel inspectors who are still on site there, when they go in, they will verify that in time. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that they significantly set back Iran's nuclear capabilities since those strikes. And the NATO leaders, the meetings with them, some of the other late-breaking news coming out of that, a massive hike in defense spending after President Trump suggested that it would happen after the meeting. So there was some doubt from some of the NATO leaders, but they have agreed to hike spending 5% of gross domestic product, which is an ironclad vow, they're saying, to defend each other if anybody gets attacked, which is just a commitment to collective defense in these types of situations.
The Wake County Medical Examiner is working to determine how 3 people died in a Garner home. Firefighters were called to that home on Rand Road around 9:30 yesterday morning. First responders found the bodies of 49-year-old Shannon Collins, 2 teenagers, and 2 cats. We have reached out to a 4th person who was listed as living inside the home, but they didn't want to talk. The Wake County Sheriff's Office is handling this investigation. And the bodies of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark will lie in state. That will be at the Minnesota State Capitol in St. Paul on Friday. They were killed in their home on June 14th in what authorities say was a politically motivated assassination. Mark Hortman was from Raleigh. Melissa will be the first woman to lie in state at the state capitol. A private funeral will happen on Saturday. 8 adults face charges in what U.S. Marshals call the largest child rescue operation in American history. Operation Dragon Eye was carried out over a 2-week period, and it involved dozens of law enforcement agencies. Florida's Attorney General says more than 60 children reported missing, endangered, even trafficked, were all rescued. The children range in age from 9 to 17. The man charged with supplying chemicals used in last month's bombing at an L.A. fertility clinic is dead. Prison management found Daniel Park unresponsive at the Metropolitan Detention Center in L.A. yesterday. Employees took him to the hospital, and that's where he died. The 32-year-old was arrested this month in Poland and then returned stateside. Investigators say Park collaborated with Guy Bartkus. He died in the blast May 17th. People in Western North Carolina hope to get a boost in tourism from a $750,000 grant. That grant from Dogwood Health Trust was awarded to Blue Ridge Rising Initiative. The action plan was actually developed before Hurricane Helene, but the development strategies are even more crucial. The money will support programs in 11 counties affected by Helene.
We're going to help you find the little communities like Spruce Pine and Little Switzerland that might not have easy access right now from the Parkway, but we're going to promote some wonderful experiences in those communities.
The Dogwood Health Trust is a private foundation based in Asheville. It focuses on dramatically improving health and well-being in Western North Carolina. At least 20 people were hurt when lightning struck the water at Lake Murray in South Carolina. That lake is near Columbia, if you know that area. WRAL spoke with a mother who witnessed the moment the lightning hit.
As soon as I got back to the table and sat down, the biggest thunderclap, lightning, it was just very scary and traumatic. It hit the water, and then everybody started screaming and freaking out.
And the thing is, her son was injured too. More than a dozen people, including several children, were taken to the hospital, but everyone is expected to be okay. Oh, and Johnson says her son, he's shaken up, but he'll be fine. So here's what you can do to avoid a lightning strike. Remember that phrase, when thunder roars, go indoors. Seek shelter immediately. Enclosed buildings are the safest spot, but don't rely on trees for protection. Tall, isolated trees are actually more likely to be struck. And don't lie flat on the ground because lightning can travel through the ground. Stay away from open spaces such as parks, ponds, and beaches, and then finally, wait at least 30 minutes after the storm to continue outdoor activities. Your time is 8:40. Cool cars. Not awesome cool, but rather temperature cool. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shows you the fast trick to cool your car down before your iced coffee melts. And free summer meals for students. An annual program kicks off today with a little extra twist we'll tell you about. And it's that big story today. Intense heat. We have a chance of hitting triple digits for the 3rd day in a row. How long this heat wave will last? Well, Elizabeth Gardner will tell us with your steamy forecast.
8:44, another extreme heat warning and the potential for some severe thunderstorms. First of all, with the extreme heat warning, it will likely climb on up into the triple digits in terms of the heat index pretty early on, maybe in the next hour or so. Already some spots feeling like triple digits. And then our severe threat is much later today, around the time of the evening commute or dinner time. And so it'll already be way too hot before any of those storms develop. And they look isolated. Most of us won't end up seeing them. I haven't seen a lot of people wandering around out here in Chapel Hill. It is very hot and muggy. 85 is the temperature. Our dew point 78. Typical summertime dew point for us is going to be in the low 70s. And so that's why it feels so hot. That's why we're dealing with the extreme heat warning. So 95 in Fayetteville right now. Feels like 97 in Raleigh and Durham. It already feels like 108 in Clinton and 104 in South Hill, 97 in some of our eastern counties. So very hot out there already. We, typically we'll have a window of time in the morning where you can get out and do, take a run or get some things done. Not so much today. We're looking at triple digit heat indices for most of the day. And then just a small chance for storms this afternoon. I'll walk you through Futurecast coming up.
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. That crash we've been monitoring on I-40 eastbound and Highway 55 in Durham, really in the clearing phase right now, but we're still seeing some huge lingering delays as a result of that crash. We're also seeing some lingering delays on the southern loop of the Beltline as well. This is a crash we were talking about here. Here's what it looks like, courtesy of our live cam network. You can see a situation where the inside lane is closed. First responders are still there on the scene, but at least traffic is getting through just a little bit. I would stay local, and depending on where you are, you'll want to avoid I-40 eastbound. Maybe take Highway 70 as an alternate route if you're coming into the capital city.
All right, you're getting a live picture at the U.S. Capitol this morning where time's running out for Congress to meet President Donald Trump's deadline to pass his sweeping agenda bill. He told lawmakers to stay as long as necessary ahead of the 4th of July holiday. Here's Amy Kiley.
You're looking at whether or not you're going to allow the perfect to become the enemy of the good.
The Senate could vote this week on President Donald Trump's sweeping domestic policy legislation.
It's a plan to cut taxes, lower prices, secure the border, and of course, to strengthen our nation.
Trump calls it his big, beautiful bill. Democrats say there's nothing beautiful about it.
You're cutting Medicaid, food assistance, childcare, making it harder for women to participate in the workforce. All to give tax breaks to people who already have access to all of these things.
GOP leaders are scrambling to secure enough support to pass the bill with a simple majority. One sticking point is Medicaid. The Senate plan could cut it more deeply than the House version. Democrats worry millions could lose health insurance as a result. Some Republicans have concerns, too.
The leader needs to get with the rural hospitals and he needs to satisfy their concerns and make sure that they can stay open.
Another point of contention among Republicans is a provision raising the state and local tax deduction cap. The bill also would extend trillions of dollars in tax cuts and raise the debt ceiling.
At the point Republicans vote unanimously or virtually unanimously for the debt ceiling, they own the debt.
That was Amy Kiley reporting. The final product that passes the Senate will go back through the House before it can go to Trump's desk for a signature. A new WRAL documentary investigates the alarming trend of cancer appearing more often in young people. Diagnosis Young, the new face of cancer in NC, explores who this is happening to and why. The WRAL doc team interviewed patients in remission and those fighting cancer right now. They also interviewed doctors and researchers about possible causes, from environmental exposures to ultra-processed foods.
And you have to believe that there's an environmental influence. So you really think food is a big one?
It's hard to ignore.
Doctors explain the research happening in North Carolina to uncover answers. In our 9 o'clock hour, WRAL documentary producer Kristen Severance will join us live with a preview of her work. Then you can watch Diagnosis Young. It's premiering tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. on WRAL, WRAL streaming platforms, and WRAL's YouTube channel. So the air in your car can be hotter than the temperature outside. When left outside in 90 or 100-degree heat, the temperature of a car will rise nearly 20 degrees within 10 minutes. So before you head out for your morning commute, 5 on your side's Keely Arthur shares how you can cool your car fast.
It is hot out here, but if your car was outside overnight, odds are it's way hotter inside. For the sake of our experiment, it's about 96 degrees outside, but this thermometer sitting in here for about 10 minutes shows it's 118 degrees inside. First thing I want you to do to cool your car down, turn it on. Then start driving. Now this is better than remote start because the faster your engine turns, the faster your AC compressor will run. Then roll your windows down, all 4 of them. On the road, turn your air conditioner on and keep your windows down for 10 to 20 seconds. Crank the fan. Once cold air starts coming through your vents, roll your front windows up, but keep the back ones open for 20 more seconds. This will pull the cold air to the back of the car. Then roll all your windows up, adjust the AC to its lowest setting. Okay, so after 2 minutes of driving, it's now at 97 degrees. Not a whole lot better, but certainly a little bit more manageable. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
My wife Christy wants us to put a remote starter in to, make it cooler before you go in. That's like $800 though. Anyway, a local nonprofit is stepping up to help feed children during the summer break. Starting today, the Poe Center for Health Education will offer free lunches and health education activities for students 18 and under. Meals will be served at 11:30 every Wednesday through July 30th at Playwell Park in Raleigh. Educational health topics include nutrition and physical activity, as well as dental health, summer safety, and gardening. Summer safety, though, that's a really important one. Let's go ahead and hold on to that one as we go to Elizabeth Gardner right now. Extreme heat warning, folks. This is not the day to play outside. If you're going to do that, please stay hydrated.
It's hot in North Carolina in the summer, and people who have lived here for a long time or a short time, you probably think, oh, it's fine. It's always hot in North Carolina. That is true, but it is a rare extreme heat warning that we saw yesterday and again today. This is not our normal summer heat that we're seeing. The heat index will climb up to 110 or hotter for most of us, and then Moore and Hope County 104 to 109. So that's a heat advisory still in the danger zone for sure. It has warmed up very fast so far this morning. It's 85 in Durham and Raleigh, as well as Fayetteville, Clinton, Goldsboro, Rocky Mount at 84. So temperatures are mostly in the mid 80s right now, but we have so much moisture in the atmosphere. It's a very tropical moist air mass. So it feels like 97 in Raleigh, as well as Goldsboro and Rocky Mount. It already feels like 108 in Clinton and 104 in South Hill. And the rest of the towns are probably going to come along here pretty quickly, either by 9 or 10. It's going to feel like the triple digits. Peak heat index of 104 to 112. And again, this does affect all of our viewing area. In downtown Raleigh, fortunately, the flags are moving around. It helps to move the air around. It's still just going to be a hot breeze, but moving it around is better than it sitting still. 85 right now with a dew point of 78. The highest dew point we've ever seen is 81. This is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. It doesn't necessarily have to do with temperature, but it gives us an idea of how moist it is, and it is very, very. 100, our high for today in Raleigh and Fayetteville, and 99 in Durham. That would tie the previous record. Why is it so hot, and why is it sticking around for so long? The pattern is stagnant right now. This high pressure system sitting here with a giant heat dome over us. Notice as we take it all the way out to Saturday and into Sunday, we just don't see much of a change. Weather alert day today and tomorrow for the high heat index, 112 today, 108 tomorrow, and then 106 to 107 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So look out for the Weather Service issuing more heat advisories as we head into the weekend. Download your WRAL weather app to follow along. There's a small chance for severe storms later on this afternoon. We take a look at Futurecast and kind of roll through once we get into the afternoon, a few clouds, and then a couple of isolated storms. Notice there at 7 o'clock, very few people seeing these thunderstorms. So if you do see one, it's likely to be very heavy in terms of rainfall, and we may have some wind damage. Looking at Thursday and Friday, it's also a level 1 risk for severe storms, but the big story going forward for the rest of the week is definitely the heat.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. A heat health alert. While many workers are enjoying the AC, some workers have to be outdoors. The 3 things all of us need to see in order to stay safe during this heat wave. And before we go to break, here's a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers.